Mary, Queen of Scots, a tragic tale of love, betrayal, and darkness. The life of Mary, Queen of Scots, reads like a Shakespearean tragedy, filled with passion, political intrigue, betrayal, and violence. Her story is one of a woman caught in the tumultuous currents of 16th-century European politics, where power was often wielded through manipulation, murder, and marital alliances. Among the most dramatic and dark chapters of her life were her marriages, particularly her involvement with her third husband, James Hepburn, the Earl of Bothwell, and the swirling accusations of his role in the murder of her second husband, Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley. This essay delves into the tangled web of Mary's relationships, the alleged crimes, and the profound betrayal that ultimately led to her downfall. The rise and fall of Mary Stuart. Mary Stuart ascended to the Scottish throne at just 6 days old, following the death of her father, King James V. Her early life was marked by privilege and peril, as she was sent to France to be raised in the court of King Henry II and Catherine de' Medici. There, she married the Dauphin, Francis, who briefly became King of France before his untimely death in 1560. Widowed at 18, Mary returned to Scotland, a Catholic queen in a predominantly Protestant country, to reclaim her throne. Her return to Scotland was fraught with challenges. The Scottish nobility was deeply divided, and Mary's Catholic faith made her a target for Protestant reformers like John Knox. Despite these obstacles, Mary sought to consolidate her power through strategic marriages. Her second marriage, to Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley, was intended to strengthen her claim to the English throne, as Darnley was a descendant of Henry VII. However, this union would prove to be one of the most disastrous decisions of her life. The marriage to Darnley, a union doomed from the start. Mary's marriage to Darnley in 1565 was initially one of passion and political calculation. Darnley was young, handsome, and shared Mary's Catholic heritage. However, his character quickly revealed itself to be vain, arrogant, and power-hungry. Darnley's ambition to be named co-sovereign of Scotland alienated Mary, and his erratic behaviour alienated the Scottish nobility. The marriage deteriorated rapidly, and by 1566, Mary had grown to despise her husband. Now, before we move on, please help a small channel grow. Please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, good or bad, leave them below. Back to the story. The birth of their son, James, in June 1566, did little to mend the rift between them. Darnley's involvement in the murder of Mary's secretary, David Rizzio, in March 1566, further deepened the animosity. Rizzio, an Italian courtier, was rumored to be Mary's lover, and his brutal assassination in her presence was a traumatic event that left Mary emotionally scarred. Though Darnley denied direct involvement, his complicity in the plot was widely suspected. The murder of Darnley, a dark turning point. The murder of Lord Darnley on February 10, 1567, remains one of the most infamous events in Mary's life. Darnley was recovering from an illness in a house in Edinburgh when the building was destroyed by an explosion. His body was found in the garden, strangled, suggesting that he had attempted to flee the blast. The circumstances of his death were suspicious, and fingers were quickly pointed at Mary and her inner circle. Among the chief suspects was James Hepburn, the Earl of Bothwell, a powerful and ambitious nobleman who had become one of Mary's closest advisors. Bothwell was known for his loyalty to Mary, but also for his ruthlessness. Rumors began to circulate that Bothwell, with Mary's knowledge or even encouragement, had orchestrated Darnley's murder to remove him as an obstacle to their relationship. The evidence against Bothwell was circumstantial but damning. He had been seen in the vicinity of the house on the night of the explosion, and his rapid rise in Mary's favour following Darnley's death fueled speculation. In April 1567, Bothwell was acquitted of Darnley's murder in a sham trial, further deepening public suspicion. Just weeks later, Mary's involvement with Bothwell took a shocking turn. The kidnapping and marriage to Bothwell, a scandalous affair in what remains one of the most controversial episodes of her life. Mary was allegedly kidnapped by Bothwell in April 1567. According to some accounts, Bothwell abducted Mary while she was travelling and took her to Dunbar Castle, where he reportedly raped her. Whether the kidnapping was genuine or staged remains a subject of debate among historians. Some argue that Mary was complicit in the affair, seeing Bothwell as a protector and a means to rid herself of Darnley's shadow. Others believe she was a victim of Bothwell's ambition and manipulation. Regardless of the circumstances, Mary's decision to marry Bothwell just weeks after Darnley's murder shocked Scotland and Europe. The marriage was seen as a betrayal of her late husband's memory and a blatant disregard for the moral and political consequences. The Scottish nobility, already wary of Mary's Catholic sympathies and her relationship with Bothwell, turned against her. In June 1567, Mary was forced to abdicate the throne in favour of her infant son, James VI. The downfall of Mary Stuart. Mary's marriage to Bothwell marked the beginning of her downfall. Bothwell was soon driven into exile, and Mary was imprisoned by the Scottish lords. In 1568, she escaped and fled to England, seeking the protection of her cousin, Queen Elizabeth I. Instead of finding refuge, Mary became Elizabeth's prisoner for the next 19 years. During her captivity, Mary became the focal point of numerous Catholic plots to overthrow Elizabeth and place Mary on the English throne. These plots ultimately led to Mary's execution in 1587, when she was found guilty of treason. The legacy of Mary, Queen of Scots. Mary's life was a tapestry of love, betrayal, and tragedy. Her marriages, particularly her union with Bothwell, were marked by violence and scandal, and her involvement in Darnley's murder remains a subject of historical debate. Whether Mary was a willing participant in the crimes attributed to her or a victim of the ruthless politics of her time, her story is a poignant reminder of the precarious position of women in power during the Renaissance. Mary's legacy is one of enduring fascination. She is remembered as a tragic figure, a queen who sought love and stability but found only chaos and betrayal. Her life serves as a cautionary tale of the dangers of ambition, the fragility of power, and the devastating consequences of trust misplaced. In the end, Mary, Queen of Scots, was a woman who dared to defy the conventions of her time, only to be consumed by the very forces she sought to control. Her story is a dark and dramatic chapter in the annals of history, one that continues to captivate and haunt us to this day. Please like and subscribe.